everybody, Gina DeLuca here. Okay, today I am going to be trying another splash painting. I'll be using some different colors. I have Basics in the Quinacridone Magenta, an Artist Loft in Violet. I kind of want to try to do a gradation. And but first I need to say some thank yous. I fell a little behind on those, so to the people who have supported this channel and made these videos possible, thank you very much. Solove, Kara Churchill, Juanita Smith, Sandy Cravens, Donna Teff, Nancy Goodling, Patty Puckett, Patricia, Juvenin, Glenda Logan, Jean Hurd, and Angela, oh Lord, my pen ran out, and Angela Ferreira. Okay, thank you guys very, very much. So let's get this party started. I also have Titanium White. That is going to be my base. So my goal is to figure out a way to make this a quicker project. The last one took me over an hour and a half, and I know that I can get that down significantly with a little practice. Okay, I have a 16 by 20 canvas. I have mixed these paints, 1 part paint to 2 parts Floetrol, and thinned a bit with my 90% Floetrol, 10% water mixture. The consistency, it forms a slight mound, or a trace as some call it, but it's still relatively thin. Okay, let's put down our base coat. Okay, I have flipped the video so that you will be seeing it from the proper perspective. It'll take a minute to get used to, but you'll get used to it. And I've switched to voiceover because, as you see, I've had to speed it up. This one was not faster than the last. It took about 2.5 hours. This is why you definitely want to use Floetrol as your pouring medium if you're going to use this technique, because if you use a professional pouring medium like Liquitex, it will start setting up too quickly. And unless you are super fast at this, it will start drying and getting tacky before you're finished. So once again, I didn't get it faster, but I was trying to figure out the blending. I wanted these colors to blend nicely. I would approach it differently next time. You know, it's a learning process. I haven't seen anyone do this, so I'm trying to figure it out on my own. And, you know, all of the great masters, because I'm one of those, not really. But if you know, see any of the paintings by the great masters, it was not their first try. There's usually several studies that are done in smaller scale before they get to the masterpiece. Even if it's a sculpture, sometimes it's just sketched out first or painted first. So now I'm trying to bring in the lights. Oh, now I'm trying to pull out shapes at this point. I'm trying to give myself the shapes that I'm seeing in my head. I'm working with what the paint gave me. I did have a reference photo, basically just to look at where the lights and the shadows fall, but this looks nothing like the reference photo. Neither did the other. It was literally just to see where would it be more translucent, where would the lighter shades be, where would the shadows be. But as you can see, I'm just kind of working with what I got when I blew it out. I don't know that I will use the airbrush next time. Maybe in some parts. It did seem to help blend the magenta and the violet. So maybe in those areas. And another thing that I would change is the edges. I would probably keep them smoother next time and have less jutting out. So here I go back and forth. The purple was sinking, so when I do those edges where I'm trying to put those shadows in, the violet was sinking, so I had to keep going back over that. And now I'm trying to put in some shadows, some darker areas, blending it out. Lots of blending. I could probably make this faster if I wasn't blending on the canvas, if I were to use some in-between colors. But there is something cool about just blending it straight on the canvas. So I'll let you guys know, this week, for those who haven't heard, I recorded my first video, which was so much fun, and it's gonna look so good. Jason Seymour Productions is who filmed it, and somehow he actually made it appear that I was photogenic, which I am not. When I did my first photo shoot for my first record, the guy who did the shoot actually had gold records hanging on his wall for his artwork. And I told him I wasn't photogenic, and he said that's not possible. And then as we were shooting the cover, he said to his assistant, "Come here, look at this." He's showing him the pictures on his camera, and he's like, "She really isn't photogenic." I'm thinking, thanks, dude. I didn't need to hear that. I already knew it. I didn't need confirmation. I have two good angles. So anyway, the video is completely shot, and now we're in the editing stage. And it was a super exciting day for me because I also hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, which I had never expected that to happen when I started doing this. I put up one video on my music channel because someone wanted to know how I did a painting. And I said, oh, well, I'll just do a video and show you. It's easier than explaining it. And next thing I know, I have a new career. Now I can paint full time, and I play music for the love of it. I don't take gigs that I hate anymore. And it's all because of you guys. So I need to say a big, big thank you to everyone who has subscribed, to the people who use the Amazon link, and those who use the PayPal tip jar and sponsor this channel. Thank you guys for making one of my dreams come true. Where all I do for a living, I create art and I create music, and I am blessed. And I remember a point in my life where I had 4 jobs and I didn't like any of them. So this is just amazing to me that my life took such a turn. 3 years ago, I was in cosmetology school and wound up with tendonitis, a cyst in my wrist, and a herniated disc. And it was the universe saying, no, This is not for you. And I started painting watercolors because my wrist hurt so bad. I couldn't play guitar. I couldn't hold a pencil. I couldn't draw. But I could hold a watercolor brush because it required no pressure. And I started painting watercolors. And then the watercolors led to me wanting to paint bigger. So I started trying acrylics. And then one day I discovered acrylic pouring on the YouTube, probably as you did, and said, ooh, that would make a cool background for these paintings. And then I just got so obsessed with it and appreciated the paintings on their own and said, this is fun. I really enjoyed the experimenting. And so thank you guys and ladies. Thank you all very much for making that possible. All right, so now I am bringing in more of the deeper shadows. It doesn't really start shaping up until you are laying in your lights, and then you lay in your darks, and the lights are what give you the transparent effect. And the darks are what give you your shadows, and that's what makes a painting come to life. I'm trying to get in this part the front of the splash right. Again, going back in with the purple because it keeps sinking. And it's those darker shadows on the edge really make it pop. It starts giving it the depth. And it's funny, I've noticed that even in pour paintings, when I use violet, it disappears. So I guess it just has a tendency to sink. I'm laying in the splashes now. I really feel like just the droplets. I feel like I improved on the droplets greatly from the last piece. So I'm just kind of laying in the shapes. And now I'm adding white to the centers and just blending it a little bit. And that really gives it that transparent effect. Looks much more realistic than in the last one. So that was an improvement. Anytime you make an improvement on your next painting, even if it doesn't work out, you learn something. So it's never a fail if you learn something. Okay, trying to bring in the deeper tones. Getting these colors to blend was a little tricky. And you know, this painting and the other splash painting, much like, you know, if you look at a Monet, when you look at it up close, it doesn't look like much. But when you step back is when the piece comes together. I'm putting in a little more droplets in the center, which I didn't do on the last one. Again, touching up those splashes, the droplets, I should say. Yeah, quite often when you look at paintings that are painted with brushes, when you get up close, it's not very detailed. But when you step back, the piece comes together. Your mind fills in the blanks, which is one of the lessons that I've had to learn. When I did my Nina Simone painting, it was very, I was very obsessed with details. And I'm sure if I had been a little less obsessed with details, it may have turned out better. But I am a perfectionist, and I need to let go of that a little bit, which is why the acrylic pouring was so beneficial to me, because it helped me to let go a little bit. Because the paint gives you what it gives you, and you can coax it a little bit, but for the most part, you have to go with what it gives you. Obviously, this technique, it's not exactly pouring. I am working with fluid acrylics. I am swiping it, and I've had a few people comment that that it was misleading that I was calling this fluid art, but it is fluid art. They're fluid acrylics. I'm using it in a different way, but it is still fluid acrylics. So the water here, one of the things I like better about this painting is the shape of the rings in the water. If you were to put a drip into a puddle of water, there will be rings. And in the last one, I just kind of did the ripples straight across. I do wish that I had put a little more of the deeper shading in the water on this one, but the shape of it in general was an improvement. So I'm coming close to the end here. I'm just trying to put in some more shadows, deepen up those colors a little bit, lighten up that edge on that front splash, give that a little depth. Just coming in and putting in some of the details, touching up those droplets. It is just blending, blending, blending. More blending. Lots of blending. But that's what gives it that realistic look. Now that front splash is really starting to come together. Again, working on the shape of the splash, trying to clean up those sides a little bit. A little more of those deeper tones, giving the depth. I'm just applying a bit more translucence to that front splash, and we are done. Okay, here it is. It's the next day. It is still wet, but it is starting to dry, as you can see. And that is the finished piece. So as you can see, the water droplets appear much more realistic than in the last one. Very happy with how they turned out. And that front splash, and you can see up close it doesn't look like much, but you pull out and there you have it. Well, I hope you guys learned something. I sure did. I'll be doing this again. My mission is to get this under an hour. This was about 2.5. Took an hour longer than the last one. But there it is. So please like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff. And if you find these videos helpful, please check out the description box below for links to my PayPal tip jar if you feel so inclined. That helps me stay stocked up in supplies to keep bringing you the fresh content. Also, the Amazon link, if you enter Amazon through the link provided in the description box, anything that you purchase off the entire site of Amazon, I receive a small commission of at no additional cost to you. Also, our group, Go Make Some Art. Join us over on Facebook. Post your masterpieces, ask your questions, or just get some inspiration. And my website, GinaDeLuca.net, where you can purchase my art and my music and my brand new CD, Better Than Chocolate, which is available only at my website. All right, you guys, that is it for me. I hope you learned something. I hope you have a beautiful day. Now go make some art.